Look, I've been telling you for years the media lies to you, but no one wants to believe me. Well, some people do. Okay, now they're just going on and on how there's no evidence and the transition turmoil. And the other day I saw the 5 levels of grief if you're for Trump. Give me a break. These people are lying to you. And now is the perfect time to prove it. Watch this.
Maybe this is just the beginning of another day of conflicting tweets. But just moments ago, about 20 minutes ago, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, tweeting, quote, he won. He goes on to say he won because the election was rigged. You see that there. Everything after he won is a lie. Everything after he won is not true. It has proven to be not true. I'm sorry if you're a Trump supporter. You can do this work yourself. Everything he says after he won is not true.
Did you notice how the quotation marks weren't in the original tweet? Did you notice that? Look, here's the tweet. All right. And look where the quotation marks are. It's in between Biden and one. What a bunch of ding-dongs. They should have put it after one. These people call themselves journalists. They're not journalists. They're puppets. They just say what they're told to say.
So is that a sign the president is finally going to give in, finally going to, if not concede, at least acknowledge Joe Biden as the winner and let the wheels of government and the transition kick in?
What's really going on is how the socialists have been trying to take over this country for over 100 years. And now it's come to this. And now it's in our time where they're just blatantly coming out and just trying to blatantly take the country over. If you let this happen, you're just as bad as them. And the first step is to look at the evidence. Look at the evidence and follow the law. That's all we're asking. We're not asking for much. We're asking for every legal vote to be counted. Nothing more.
That he believed, of course, without evidence, that the election was fraudulent and that it was wrong and that it was stolen from him, but that he would acknowledge that Biden won and, of course, leave the White House in January. And that's what we're seeing with this.
And the president will leave the White House if he lost, but he hasn't lost yet. The race is still going on. There is a legal procedure. It's happened 3 times in our history. The last time was with Bush and Gore. And then it happened in the 1800s a couple times, I believe. But she's lying. This is what every news agency is saying, that there's no evidence. There's tons of evidence. Tons.
Some controversy surrounding Dominion. What can you tell us about it? What do you know? What's the controversy? Is it real?
Yeah, well, it's definitely real, and more will be coming out over the next few days. We are investigating, and the information, Dan, is just shocking. And what you need to know about Dominion is that this is a foreign company, but it also has a U.S. office that's based out of Denver, Colorado, actually my home state, and they have been systematically embedding software being used by the U.S. elections in various states, up to possibly 38 states, at least 28 that we're aware of. And they have as a feature, not just a bug, but as a feature, the ability to cancel votes, manipulate votes, look at the vote tallies. This is where we're seeing, there were reports of so-called glitches that had 6,000 votes that were for President Trump that miraculously disappeared, and then 6,000 given to Joe Biden. And so this is where this kind of software that is being that has been used for the election is really, really problematic, and this could impact the entire nation, because even though of course we're looking right now at 6 particular states that either have legal suits or recounts, this Dominion voting system, this is just incredibly problematic, and this isn't just about glitches. This is about intentional fraud.
It's overwhelming, and it's so huge. It's just crazy. It's crazy how big it is. It would have taken 4 years to do this much planning. That in one night, all these things happened. And then the ding-dong before her said, let the wheels of government turn. They are turning. There is a procedure. Right now we're in the courts. They have to be done by December 10th or 14th. The state has a deadline. So at that point, the state legislature steps in the state if they haven't decided by December 8th or December 14th, right around there somewhere. They have to make a decision. If that doesn't happen, then they get together and they have Pennsylvania put together a state delegation. The delegation, each person in the delegation will get one vote. And if there is no winner, if they can't decide, then it goes to the House of Representatives. This is a procedure. It's in the law. So don't listen to these ding-dongs telling you there's no evidence and he won't step down. He's perfectly well within his right to look at the evidence and see and just make sure that he did actually lose and there was no hanky-panky, which there was. And they may get away with it anyway. You know, they've been getting away with this kind of thing for years. They're good at it. Don't believe me? After that, each state gets one vote. And that will choose the president. The judicial branch is not political. The judicial branch, which is where it's at right now, it's not political. You understand that? It's legal. Everything has to go by the law now. All these years, we just accept, oh, this guy won, that guy won. Well, you know, and then they get the guy in power, he hands it over. But if there's a question, if there's anything wrong at all, then they have a right to go through the judicial system and let the judicial system decide who the president is. It's so that no one person can have that much power to choose the person who's in charge. It is the rule of law.
This Sunday, no concession and a growing COVID crisis. President Trump refusing to admit defeat.
Whatever happens in the future, who knows which administration will be? I guess time will tell.
Republican allies reacting either with silence.
Senator, is it time to acknowledge that President-elect Biden has won the election?
Or support.
President Trump should not concede.
There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration.
As Trump loyalists march in Washington.
USA! USA!
Echoing the president's false claims of a stolen election. Nearly 2 weeks after an Election Day contest won by Joe Biden by more than 5.5 million votes so far, and by a comfortable electoral vote margin, the country is facing two interconnected crises. One, the President of the United States refuses to concede the election, claiming falsely that it was somehow stolen. His Attorney General is currently encouraging investigations into voter fraud, despite a lack of evidence that any of his exists. His Secretary of State is suggesting the president will be inaugurated for a second term. Perhaps he was kidding. The president has fired his defense secretary and is filling the Defense Department with loyalists, some of whom traffic in conspiracy theories.
I just think it's an embarrassment.
It's an embarrassment, all right. But it's an embarrassing going to Democrats. They tried to steal this election, and I've got proof. These people are all lying to you. These people are lying to you. When are you going to realize how big the lies are? They're huge. They go into the CIA, the NSA. That's why the CIA wasn't involved in the recent raid in Germany on the servers that have all the evidence.
Election, he needed to just give up. But Seidel, that's a place where all of this information was cycling through. Not supposed to, but it was. And actually, there was a German that, as I was told, there was a tweet in German from Germany that the U.S. Army had gone in and seized the Seidel server. They're going for it, and I sent him specifics that he needed to get that would show a lot of fraud. And the next day, before that information could be gotten, somebody ordered the U.S. Army, according to the tweet, to go in and seize the server. There are people involved inside the government that have been trying to take this president down, State Department, Intel community, and FBI. And also Sunday, I had information from some of our former Intel people that there was extremely compelling evidence that could be gleaned from Scytl, that's SCYTL. That's a company headquartered in Barcelona, Spain, that was responsible for aggregating all the information from all the machines and whatnot. But now the main headquarters had moved to Frankfurt. You know, Frankfurt, where Merkel in Germany has said the day after the election that Trump needed to go ahead and concede. Well, they're going through bankruptcy, but that information as to how many votes were switched from Republican for Democrat would have been easily established from the information that Scytl gathered, and you know what were the votes going in and which ones were changed going out. And he said, "Can you send me exactly the information we need to gather?" And so I got that information and sent it in the wee hours Monday morning. And before he would have had a chance to make a request to get any of that information, it turns out that I don't know the truth. I know that there was a German tweet in German saying that on Monday, U.S. Army forces went into Scytl and grabbed their server. There's some that believe this is the U.S. intelligence that manipulated all this in order to cover their own rear ends. But it's a little disturbing to just contemplate how corrupt the government has gotten with the whole Russia hoax, the framing of Mike Flynn, and so many others, Carter Page, Papadopoulos. So this is a desperate time for our country.
Okay, so what's going on here is Scytl is the company, and when America votes, all the information goes to Spain, and it goes to this company called Scytl. Scytl is in Spain, but they filed for bankruptcy. They moved the servers to Germany. Germany. This is one of the reasons why President Trump fired the Secretary of Defense. So the U.S. Army invaded this company in Germany to get the servers, and the CIA was not involved because the CIA has been involved with wanting Trump out of the office. So the CIA was not involved in this operation to Germany because Trump they have been involved in the past with wanting him out of the office. So they went to Germany, and they supposedly they have the servers. What's on them? Evidence that the Dominion program was. Why do they send? They've been doing this for the last 10 years with this company. For the last 10 years, all the election results go to Spain first. All right. Why? It shouldn't even leave the country. These people that are doing this are deep, deep in the state. And that's where the term deep state comes from. And it's real. And you need to pay attention because they are trying to take over our country. They want nothing but to get Trump out of office. Let's move on with the next evidence. More intelligence and reports are coming out to Americans connect the dots of the election fraud carried out by the deep state operatives. This information could also explain why Defense Secretary Mark Esper was terminated by President Donald Trump last week. We know that Dominion and Smart Tech are two companies that have played a role in manipulating vote ballot fraud in key swing states in the 2020 U.S. presidential election. These are foreign companies. This report from Great Game India provides additional insight. Days after it was revealed how 2020 U.S. elections were rigged by Canadian Crown agent Dominion voting systems through a so-called glitch, now has found involvement in other dubious foreign companies in election meddling. The votes cast by Americans were counted by a bankrupt Spanish company, Skittle, in Spain, like Dominion Voting Systems. Skittle has a long history of election fraud in various nations, including injection backdoors in its election software. The issue has prompted experts to question why the sensitive job of counting votes was outsourced to a foreign company. How could a bankrupt Spanish company count American votes in Spain? Due to such widespread fraud, the chairman of U.S. Federal Elections Commission, Trey Traynor, believes that the U.S. presidential election is illegitimate. Texas Representative Louis Gohmert confirmed the U.S. military conducted a raid on the server headquarters in the known bankrupt Skittle company in Barcelona, Spain. The Gateway Pundit, a reliable news organization, often corrects lies of mainstream media propaganda, reported the U.S. government, once they determined that this Dominion server was involved in switching votes, then the intelligence committee began to search for servers and discovered that the server was in Germany. In order to get access to the server, it has been available, used in an illegal manner. They have had the State Department work in tandem with the Department of Justice. They had to request that the government of Germany cooperate in allowing the seizure of the servers. The appropriate documents required to effect that kind of seizure were put in place. Signed off on, it appears there was also a U.S. military support in this operation. The help explains why Esper was fired and retired General Greenberry Miller, Cash Patel were put in place so that the military would not interfere with the operation in any way. By getting a hold of the server, they are now going to have the direct evidence of when they were instructed to stop counting. They will also discover who gave the direct stop counting and who initiated the algorithm. This includes malware, viruses, trojans, weaponized, zero-day exploits, malware remote control systems, and associated documents. These leaks may have revealed that the top secret CIA unit used the German city as Frankfurt as a main starting point for numerous hacking attacks on Europe, China, and the Middle East. A German newspaper reported the building was known to be home to a vast network of CIA agents, NSA spies, military secret service people. It's reported the Americans had also established a dense network of outposts and shell companies in Frankfurt. The additional leaks are indicating the CIA may have used this foreign data center to hack the U.S. elections. Trump attorney Sidney Powell being interviewed live Friday of Lou Dobbs, staggering statistical evidence and staggering witness testimony. This could be the reason the CIA was kept completely in the dark. Could this have been the server farm that ran the remote Dominion hacking operation the night of the election? Trump attorney Sidney Powell thinks so. If you want to talk about foreign election interference, we certainly have it now. Sidney told Lou's audience about the hammer and scorecard software that was used to steal Trump votes in Michigan. They need to investigate the likelihood that 3% of the vote total changed in the pre-election voting ballots that were collected digitally by using the hammer program and scorecard. That would have amounted to a massive change in the vote. It would have gone across the country, and it explains a lot of what we're seeing. We encourage you to search and seek out the video clips of Gohmert and Powell. Due to potential censorship, we and I choose not to present them here. Every time Americans witness an injustice and do not act, we train ourselves to be passive in its presence and thereby eventually lose our ability to fight back and protect those we love. President Trump has been laying fairly low since the election, giving few press conferences or speaking out publicly. But when he did speak to the reporters at the White House, it was sobering for many in the room. We want every legal vote to be counted. I want every legal vote counted. We want openness, transparency, no secret count rooms, no mystery ballots, no illegal votes being cast after Election Day. Democrat officials never believed they could win this election honestly. I really believe That's why they did the mail-in ballots, where there is tremendous corruption and fraud going on. If you count the legal votes, I will easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us. And this is happening in the United States right now. Also, check out these articles. Pelosi's connection to the voter fraud software. Her speechwriter is a spokesman for Dominion. The secret deep state revealed. One of the guys with Dominion is also with AT&T. This goes a lot deeper than you think. This is serious. You need to pay attention. This isn't some just election fraud. These are people trying to take over our country. It's a worldwide thing. One world government. They're trying to implement it right now. And they can't do it with the United States and with people who believe in freedom, who will fight and die for freedom. They can't do it unless they go to war and kill us all. I'm going to leave you with this right here, with the inventor of the pillow. He says it great. And this is the last clip. And I just want you to think about how you can't believe what the media is saying, and you need to start investigating. When you hear something, wait 72 hours before you believe it's real. You can believe Dan Bongino. You can believe a lot of guys who are on social media who aren't on the media, the regular news. You can't believe ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, and CNN especially. They're all liars. And I'll leave you with this.
Addiction, I didn't realize how important politics were to everything we do. And then Donald Trump reached out to me in the summer of 2016 for a private meeting, and I walked in there and we talked about he wanted to bring jobs back like My Pillow's made in the USA. He wanted to, I told him about my addiction and how I have a platform to help millions of people in addiction. He said, Mike, I want to stop the drugs from pouring in to our country. He said, he talked about what he was going to do for the unemployment, the economy, and we talked about all these things for a half hour. And I left his office that day on August 15, 2016. I said, he's going to be the greatest president in history. But here's where the attacks come. I left there, and by the way, I talked to his employees, and I couldn't believe what I just witnessed. A man with the only agenda to help us as a people and a country, and it was just, everything about it was so real. And I went and talked to his employees, and every one of them said the same thing. He's a great boss, great leader, and they had a personal story how he had helped them. So I went back to Minnesota. And I went back there, and I couldn't wait to tell Minnesota in 2016, tell all the media I had met this man, Donald Trump, and all the great things we had talked about. Well, I did that press release, and the media called me a racist. They attacked me. The Better Business Bureau took me from an A+ to an F. I mean, I was completely attacked. But then I knew I was on the right path. God gave us grace on November 8, 2016, and our president has a gift, a problem solution, but he also knows what it's going to manifest to. He has fought every day for our country and us to overcome, to make our lives better for each and every one of us. He's kept all his promises that he told all of us. He created the best economy in history before this China virus. We had the lowest unemployment. He brought the manufacturing back. It would take hours to list everything, but right out of the gate, we got to at least say Merry Christmas. But now, the radical left and Democrats are trying to steal the election and the future of our country. And I'm going to tell you about them. They're very good at marketing and brainwashing and deception. Let's talk about, I'll give you two examples because I'm a marketer. Planned Parenthood and Black Lives Matter. What do they have in common? Here's what they have in common. They're both deceptive. Planned Parenthood, it sounds like a politically correct name. Well, when you find out that Planned Parenthood is killing your baby so you don't have to be a parent, there's something wrong with that. And Black Lives Matter, of course their lives matter, but when you look behind the curtain and you see the organization behind it has been suppressing and trying to destroy them for 50 years, that's what they do. And they have been described for, okay, but now they're making their biggest play ever. I promised the president that we would win Minnesota. Well, we did, but the corruption was just bigger there as we have professional USA and Israel haters led by Ilhan Omar. We also have a Democrat governor who made some of the worst decisions ever that manifest for political reasons, that manifested into riots and destruction across our country. It's sad that they make decisions for political reasons, and we have a great president makes them for us. And what a difference. He's turned the Republican Party into the common sense party. But I look at mathematical deviations every day in my business, and if something is out of whack, there's a reason for it. Things just don't happen without input. And I'll tell you what, you look at this election, there's so many deviations, and there's something that had to happen for those deviations to happen. Well, our president is going to win this election as all of these deviations will be revealed as corrupt and voter fraud. Mr. President, if you're watching, we are praying for you, and we are here to support you any way we can to lead us in this fight for our country and future. Now I want to say a quick prayer.